This might be the most expensive curse in physics history. You've probably heard it, the God particle. But physicists actually call it the goddamn particle. A cautious publisher simply removed the damn. Why swear at a particle? Because it was hard to find. To find it, the US dug a tunnel in Texas and burned $2 billion. Then the project was abandoned. Europe took over. They built the most powerful machine on Earth just to glimpse it. Why did we search so hard? Not to meet God, but to answer, how do we exist? Without this particle, you, your phone, this planet, everything would fall apart instantly. Atoms would dissolve into light and race at light speed. To explain this clearly, we need to go back to the 1960s, when physics faced a crisis of confidence. At the time, scientists had a blueprint of the universe called gauge theory. It was elegant, symmetrical, almost divine. But one fatal flaw. It couldn't explain mass. In the perfect formula, all particles had to be massless, like photons. But in reality, electrons have mass, quarks have mass, and the particles are heavy. Adding mass into the equations broke everything. Physicists were stuck. Either the theory was wrong or reality was wrong, and we shouldn't exist. Then Goldstone made it worse. If you try to break symmetry to create mass, the math fights back. It produces massless particles you can't delete. The theory looked cursed. But hope came from an unexpected field, condensed matter physics. Philip Anderson noticed something odd in superconductors. Photons seemed to gain mass there. He wondered if the vacuum wasn't empty. Maybe it contained some kind of medium. Soon after, 3 separate groups of researchers on both sides of the Atlantic had the same idea. The most famous one was Peter Higgs. They proposed a bold thought. What if Goldstone's massless bosons weren't gone, but were absorbed? Imagine the early universe. All particles were massless. They moved at light speed. Then an invisible field, the Higgs field, condensed like syrup filling space, like an ocean. When particles slowly move through this field, they interact. It's not friction. Rather, it is a kind of inertia. The originally massless particles become harder to accelerate, and that inertia shows up as mass. This is Higgs' mechanism. Mass isn't something you're born with. It's the price for moving through this field. Think of the universe as a fish tank. Photons slide through like oiled fish. They feel nothing and move at light speed. Electrons and quarks get soaked and gain inertia. They form atoms. That's why our world exists. But in 1964, this was a wild idea. Why can't we feel this ocean? Because a fish in deep water doesn't know it's wet. We're born in this ocean. We live in it. Higgs wrote a paper about it and got rejected. The editor called it pure math, not real physics. Higgs was frustrated. In his revised manuscript, he added a prediction. If the field is real, we can excite a particle from it with enough energy. A splash in the ocean. This splash is the Higgs boson. To prove it, we have paid a high price. In the 1990s, the US boldly planned the superconducting super collider in Texas. It's an 87-kilometer tunnel. But costs exploded from $4 billion to $10 billion. Congress canceled it in 1993. $2 billion wasted. the tunnel still lies abandoned, like a skeleton of physics, mocking humanity's arrogance. The search passed to Europe. They built the Large Hadron Collider, the most violent machine on Earth, 100 meters under Geneva. It's simple. If the Higgs field is water, smash protons at light speed. In a 27-kilometer ring, superconducting magnets accelerate protons to 99.99%, the speed of light, and crash them. It was a gamble. Failure would mean decades of physics might collapse. From 2011 to 2012, it ran full power. We recreated conditions just after the Big Bang. Detectors searched billions of collisions. Then a faint signal. At 125 GeV, the splash appeared. It lasted far less than a second, but it was enough. For the first time, the fish saw the water. At the press conference, 83-year-old Higgs sat in the crowd. He quietly wiped away a tear. That tear was not just for a belated Nobel Prize, but also for that long and lonely search. So, yes, the so-called vacuum is not empty at all. The seemingly empty space around you is packed. It is filled with the Higgs field. If you turn this field off, electrons would lose mass, atoms would fly apart, and the world you know would vanish at the speed of light into the ends of the universe. But it is also because of this ocean. Atoms form, stars burn, and you can sit here today. So when life feels heavy, when every step is a struggle, remember, that weight is the universe holding you. It's why you're here at all.